Welcome to RANsquawk's evening morning briefing for Wednesday the 13th of January 2009. Take a look in terms of how things fared over in Asia. We did see pretty much a continuation of the lower close on Wall Street. The Chinese equity markets, in particular the Shanghai Composite, closing down around 3.1% or so. That was the biggest single-day percentage loss in 7 weeks in China. Very much in reaction there to that increase by 0.5 percentage point in that reserve requirement ratio. Some fears have surfaced now that could be the signs of the first tightening in terms of policy. Elsewhere, the Nikkei also fell 1.3% in tandem with that in particular, as well with Japan Airlines, a notable mover, having fallen around 80% today, as they do seem likely now to fall into bankruptcy around the beginning of next week. In terms of the European equity markets, though, having already reacted to that news very much yesterday, they're pretty much unchanged to a slight negative. Focus has been very much in terms of fixed income, where we've seen quite a large amount of supply coming out of the likes of Germany and the new €6 billion bubble. Also issuance out of Italy and Portugal, as well as the UK and a longer dated 30-year as well. That did put some short setting, and Bunds did open low on the back of that. However, it's pretty much paired to come back to around unchanged, having now cleared the books. All those auctions pretty much at the top end in terms of the size in the take-up, as well as the bid to cover ratios being pretty upbeat as well. Taking a look elsewhere in terms of the US federal speak, there's quite a few things to pay attention to, which may well get some reaction when the US starts coming to their desks in a few hours' time. Starting off with Fed's Plosser, who said that the Federal Reserve policymakers must raise the benchmark interest rate well before unemployment falls to an acceptable level in order to keep inflation in check. So pretty hawkish there out of Fed's Plosser. Fed's Fisher also said the Fed is nearing the end of the MBS program, adding that he does not see persuasive inflation pressures presently. Fisher also said an unemployment rate will remain quite high for some time. Elsewhere as well, something which was mentioned briefly yesterday, getting a bit more coverage in overnight press, was that President Barack Obama will announce plans tomorrow to raise up to $120 billion from major US financial firms to cover the expected losses from the TARP program, according to a senior administration official, who did go as far as saying, though, that the losses aren't anticipated to be quite as much as that 120 number. Elsewhere in foreign exchange news, relatively hawkish comments coming out of the Bank of England MPC member Andrew Sentance. In a Guardian interview, he said the Bank of England is nearing the point where it wants to wait and see what impact its unprecedented monetary stimulus has had on the economy, but that does not mean it will start to withdraw it, so signalling a potential hold there in terms of the 200 billion QE programme. He also said the MPC need to be vigilant about the risks of igniting inflation. The cable has traded up around 100 pips so far today. A notable mover as well has been around a 50 pip spike at around the European morning in Euro Swiss, which was put down to quasi and domestic names buying. However, that did ignite a few jitters in regards to potential SNB intervention. However, nothing heard from the central bank themselves, and price action has recouped some of those initial gains. But Euro Swiss still trading slightly higher on the session. Elsewhere, one thing to note is WTI crude futures is trading in negative territory, down around 50 cents. Did see a pretty substantial build across the board in the APIs after the NYMEX pit closed yesterday, so attention will now go to the DOE numbers we'll see in today's session. Taking a look in terms of the calendar then and things to come, pretty light in terms of US economic data. We'll have the NBA mortgage apps at midday London, so 6 o'clock in Chicago. Those DOE numbers, as mentioned, due later in the session, and then we'll have the Fed's beige book at around 7 o'clock London time, so 1 o'clock in Chicago, and then we'll be eyeing the $21 billion in the 10-year auction from the US, 6 o'clock London, so midday in Chicago.